people who quit their job share the dumpster fire that they left behind. Ask Reddit. Before we get into it, subscribe for more stories. I didn't get a bonus because they felt the overtime I did paid me more than the bonus they gave to everyone else. I didn't know what to say to that, so after a few hours, I offered to get coffee for everyone. Then I left and never came back or contacted them again. I keep thinking that I should go back with coffee now. I've been gone 10 years and just act normal. I worked at a Shoppers Mart. I had simply asked for better hours after working ridiculously late nights every single day over a year. Instead, they hired a new guy and gave him the exact hours I asked for and then had me train him. So when the training wasn't going well, because new guy was super slow, they blamed me for it. Now, I had a good standing with everyone at this store, but I didn't need shoppers, and I let a lot of stuff slide every day. So, again, when I asked for a vacation that I deserved because I was never sick and punctual as all get out, I was denied it, and the next day the manager had 4 weeks of vacation set. So, to make it up to me, they offered me all these insane overtime shifts for the next 3 weeks. So, I waited for the frozen deliveries to arrive that same day. The boss was packing up to go home, and when he said good night to me, I said, "But who is going to do this frozen delivery?" He laughed and said, "You are." So I replied, "Nope." And he became super cross, so I started laughing. "What are you laughing about?" he says. I said, "Screw yourself, I quit." Now, there was no one to finish the night shift. He immediately asks for the uniform. "Nah," I said, "screw yourself, I quit." I had never done that before or since. Uniform went right into the trash. I worked as a small engine repair tech for a larger company. I am also in the National Guard. I had gotten hurt and needed physical therapy, and 1 or 2 days a month I would have to miss because of an extended drill weekend. Well, my boss didn't like that, and she decided that she would punish me by making me stay later than everyone else. She was punishing me for going to physical therapy, for a workplace injury, and for being a soldier. Now, you may be thinking, having to stay late to keep up on your work doesn't sound like that much of a punishment. Normally, you would be right, but trust me, she was doing a lot more to make sure it was a punishment. Well, one day, after being told that I was not given approval for the 1 day of vacation I asked for 3 months in advance to go see the eclipse, and generally being treated like a slave, I was like, why am I doing this to myself? And clocked out at the end of my shift. That next Monday, after drill weekend, I showed up, packed all of my tools up, took off. My boss started freaking out when she saw what I was doing. I left and found out that leaving me cost her $100,000 because she had to ship my workload to another state to get another shop to work on them. That meant she needed to pay to ship them, and then pay to ship them back, and since her shop didn't do any of the actual work, she never saw any money for any of the repairs. It was over 80 riding mowers. I was 18 years old, and the assistant manager at a big pizza franchise. I had been working open to close for 2 weeks straight because the new general manager went on vacation right after taking over the store. When she got back from her vacation, she worked a half day. I still opened and closed. Then she changed the schedule and took 2 days off. This was the last straw on top of a ton of other stuff piled over a year, like multiple new general managers, a terrible district manager, and awful store politics. I was alone during an unusually large lunch rush and was just done with everyone's bull. I had a make line full of orders, phones ringing, oven full of pizza, orders to be picked up, and a massive batch of dough sitting on the prep table. I said screw it. I shut the oven off, walked out, and locked the store. Didn't call anyone to let them know. It would be hours before the evening driver would roll in. No prep for the day, no dough for the day, except for the blob, I'm sure, would become a massive mess after rising for hours. A double-deck oven with full belts of pies wasted, and what was probably shaping up to be a $1,200 lunch out the window. I hope she was well rested after her time off. I got stabbed in the shoulder while working as a book manager. I was the only key holder, and while the paramedics were tending to me, the area manager was on the phone asking me to open the store the next day. I closed shop for the day, came back once I got out of the hospital, put my keys in the safe, and left my notice on the desk. Store didn't open for 3 days while they sorted a field manager. I worked as an engineer at the mill and was responsible for operation and process adjustment of certain piece of equipment. I made it work better with then specific results, but my managers required more production, less power, etc. So, at the point machine reached it, its capacity and further pushing was risky and huge amounts of investment was needed, I was told by the brass that you didn't even try to do it and only say some lame excuses. I was full of his bull and called to the manufacturer of this equipment. Long story short, instead of instructions and advices, they sent me a job offer for local service rep. After I quit the mill, my ex-colleagues tried to push machine above the limits and successfully broke it and stopped the production for a couple of months, which cost the entire company hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Next time, trust your engineer. It's Monday morning, my day off, and I was pulling out of MD Anderson after getting blood work done when I receive a call from my manager. She asked me to come into work because of 2 call-offs. Thinking that I did not have anything else planned and could use the overtime, I agreed. I informed her over the phone that it would take me an hour to get home, dress, and then drive to work. All I heard was an annoyed, "Fine, just get here," from her. 1 hour later, I arrived at work. Just as I was getting to the deli, where I work, my manager, who was behind the counter by herself, starts yelling at me for being late, in front of not 1, not 2, but a whole line of customers. I attempted to remind her of our conversation, but she cuts me off, tosses me her apron, and storms out of the deli. I am forced to shrug it off, apologize to the customers, and get to work. Later, I have a customer walk to the deli and ask about our rotisserie chicken, something not uncommon. I explain it will be over an hour before they are ready, and suggest driving 5 minutes north to the other Walmart. He nods, thanks me, and walks away towards the front. I thought nothing of it, and continued to cook popcorn chicken. 5 minutes later, the same customer comes back with none other than my manager, who was asking me about the rotisserie chicken. I, once again, attempt to explain how long the chicken has left to cook, and the suggestion I made. No sooner than when I finish speaking, she berates me for being lazy and telling a customer to go somewhere else. I ask what else there is I could do, as I couldn't make the oven cook faster. Her next words stick to this day. "I want you to do your damn job," she said, "or you could kiss it goodbye." A moment of pause from everyone. Zoe and May have been listening in the entire time, as well as the customers they were helping. I ponder, then smile. Okay. I apologize to Zoe and May, my other employees, wish them the best of luck, walk out of the deli towards my manager, stop in front of her, take off my apron, kiss it, and then said goodbye. I walked out of the store and never came back. I still have my name badge and hat to this day. I might burn him if I get drunk enough one night. Once I was a programmer at this insurance company. One of the longtime programmers had been with the company for nearly 20 years. This guy originally wrote most of the financial system himself from scratch and had maintained it with the help of a couple other people. Every month, he did the month-end processing, and every quarter, he did the quarter-end processing. Every year-end, yep, it was him too. There was a change in management a couple of times, and he kept getting treated worse and worse. He was being treated unfairly, asked to do unreasonably more work than he was already doing, and getting thrown under the bus, that kind of thing. He finally had enough, and one morning he came in, walked right into the manager's office, and quit. Then walked out the door, and we never saw him again. In the aftermath, it took a team of 4 other people 6 months to get things back together to a point where things were serviceable. Subscribe for more stories.